I is for show mind.
I is the brain.
And this is Bud Notes News.
DBFM Entertainment. DBFM Entertainment.
Your brain is for show, man. Your brain is for show, man.
DBFM Entertainment.
Welcome to Bud Notes News on the DBFM Entertainment channel. I is for show man, bringing you some new information about cannabis sativa, specifically from NORML, my weekly subscription emails I receive from them, the National Organization on the Reform of Marijuana Law, one of my favorite bodies in the efforts to reformat cannabis nationally, legally, medicinally. So first topic is the voter support being at an all-time high, supporting the reform of cannabis, recreationally or medicinally. 61% of voters say that it should be outright legal, recreational, for anybody to enjoy. And 94% of people say that it should be available medicinally for people to use as a medicine. So that is dang near the whole population. Now the main age range is 18 to 49, and that's in the high 70%. That age range agrees that it should be completely legal, recreational, medicinal. And above 65, it's about 42% of voters say it should be medicinal. So it's definitely within the late teens to late 40s range of people saying it should be legal in one way or another. So again, this is from NORML. Subscribe to their email listings. You can get this information yourself, review it, enjoy it, spread it. So our next topic is the National Conference of State Legislatures coming to an endorsed resolution to remove cannabis from the Schedule I category of the Controlled Substance Act. Within this resolution, they speak of allowing these cannabis businesses to open bank accounts and use financial institutions to run their businesses, as there have been many businesses, many individuals that have spent all their time and power to get a business going, and then when they go to get a bank account, they're unable to. So this resolution will allow them to. And it's less of the resolution itself and more of the fact that this legislature is endorsing it. They're agreeing that the banks should allow them to run their legitimate businesses and not to treat them like drug dealers or as if they're an illegal activity. And by doing that, they want to remove it from the Controlled Substance Act, as I have said. Now, the Department of Justice, next topic, their task force has come to an agreement to keep a hands-off approach to seizing and raiding legitimate cannabis businesses within states that have made it recreational and allow businesses to operate as such. They have directed U.S. attorneys in all 50 states not to interfere as well. Now, the task force cannot legally bind the Department of Justice as a whole, nor the Attorney General, our friend Jeff Sessions, to uphold to their agreement to lay off. But that section of the Department of Justice still agrees. It's nice to see that there's still a chunk of people within that department who still believe they should take a hands-off approach and will influence that and promote that and hopefully be able to keep that going as Barack Obama wonderfully started. The next topic here on Bud Notes News of the DBFM Entertainment channel is research showing that herbal cannabis in Washington state is still the most popular form of consuming cannabis when compared to concentrates and edibles. 66.6% of sales have been for herbal cannabis. As I said, in comparison to concentrates, wax, shatter, butter, rosin, and edibles versus cannabis buds, which are not actually buds, the red hairs of the flowers. But anyway, they took sales from July of 14 to September of 16 and compared all that data, and again found 66.6% of people were buying flowers. 66.6% of sales were for flowers. Our next topic involves a percentage rate of people being submitted to the hospital having a lower percent of in-hospital mortalities when they have a history of cannabis use versus those who do not. This comes from Tucson, Arizona. And the data shows that just over 5% of people who do have a history of cannabis use have an in-hospital mortality rate versus just under 9% for people who do not have a history of cannabis use. So this is not very specific, but this slightly suggests that people who consume cannabis have a better chance of living. There is previous data matching that in concerns with heart attacks and severe brain trauma as well. Next topic is the Hispanic Caucus of state legislatures who advocate decriminalizing cannabis. They believe that the initial introduction of this law was done by racist politics. And for that, they want to decriminalize it, representing Hispanic people. Now they want to remove it as a controlled substance as well, fully make it legal, not just endorse it medicinally. This comes from Boston, Massachusetts, and it is the first time that the Hispanic Caucus of State Legislation has agreed to endorse cannabis to be decriminalized. Great steps we're taking here, people. Thank you, Caucus. Keep it moving. For the last topic, here on Bud Notes News, we will be talking about how cannabis being scheduled as a federal controlled substance cannot justify an employer for discriminating against someone who is qualified to use that within this state. Specifically in this case, Hartford, Connecticut. There was an employer who denied a job to a woman because she smoked cannabis medicinally. She took it to court. The judge ultimately decided that since she's within the regulations of her state, that the federal agency should leave them alone and cannot discriminate against them simply for using their qualified medicine. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Bud Notes News on the DBFM Entertainment Channel. I is the showman.
I is the brain.
And this has been Bud Notes News on the DBFM Entertainment Channel. Fat hand, little hand.